Yeah.
Greetings and welcome to the Inner Den. We have a whole different configuration going on today. I am traveling and on my way to Calgary, sitting in Canmore right now. Christina's not at home. Michonne's anchoring the bunch. Yes, we've had a week. This has been a week. We have been talking about the switch and the purge and the timeline shifts and all of that stuff over the last couple of months, and it is here in the Inner Den. We are going through our own transition right now as we speak. There's a huge train behind me and very loud.
I don't hear it at
Hopefully
all.
you guys can hear me.
Fine. We don't hear train. It's
Yeah,
only you.
I can't hear myself, but yes, and our train is taking a different track. We've got some new things coming in. Anne Marie has chosen to take her own path and has left our podcast. And so we are now collectively going to figure out what it is we want to do moving forward. This is a new space and we haven't had a lot of time to think about it yet. So a little bit of a debrief space with the three of us. Who wants to go first? How are you feeling about that? Nobody wants to jump on the trampoline?
Uh, it feels more like
Michonne, you
jumping
want
in
to go
front of a
first?
train.
Right? I was going to say.
Obviously, life and things are always changing, and people are entitled to live their own life and make their own choices and go their own directions. And well, I'm sad and a bit surprised because I didn't really see it coming. I definitely wish her well and hope that whatever she chooses to do, because I'm sure we'll still be interacting with her, it just won't be on the podcast. And you guys all wrote a book together, so it's not like you're completely going separate ways. So there's that piece of it. Yeah, and then just realizing, hey, we haven't been doing this for very long, and now we get a chance to say, just with this coming in, it's okay. Do we keep doing the same thing? Do we restructure? Do we change what we're doing? Do we want to? Do we want to continue? All of the things that come in now with that, it brings in that dynamic for all of us to say, hey, are we marching forward or are we pivoting?
Yeah, and this is not the first time we've had this conversation in the den.
Yeah.
And so it just goes to show that the spiral path is real. And here we are again. And I think it's healthy to check in with everybody and say, hey, where are you at? Do you see a pivot? And pivots aren't terrible. I think it's just the way they're communicated is appropriate to make sure that there's respect in the pivot. But that's life. Christina, how do you feel
I
about?
think I agree with everything Michonne said. And further to that, we can never really know. And no matter how close you are to someone, you can never really know what's going on in their world and why they make the decisions that they make. I think that we still love and honor Anne Marie and wish her the best. And I think that we'll all still be supporting one another, and her included. It doesn't mean that she's not a part of our world anymore. She's chosen not to come on this platform, and that's okay. And I think that we need to respect and honor that as well. And I know that it can be hard at times, and I think sometimes overcommitment is a thing. And if that was a factor, I get it. I understand. Again, bit of a heads up is nice, like you were saying, the communication piece, but it is what it is. And I guess this does present us with a great opportunity for, what do we want this timeline to look like? Where do we want to go moving forward? What is our intent? And I think really coming back to those core pieces to have a better understanding of what we're doing as well.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, because the intent and the reason why we started doing this podcast was for just documentation, almost
Documentation.
like a digital Akashic
Mm.
records of what we've been doing for the last year. It's cool to go back and see where we were as opposed to where we are, and using that whole theme about what is our next step. We're actively living it. And by showing up once a week, it is not only like I see this as, yes, it's a commitment to the group, but it's a commitment to myself to show up
Yeah.
and have that MEPS moment. Where are
Yeah.
you mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, socially? And doing that in community is powerful. And hey, Zeus is agreeing by growling in the back seat. Yeah, there's power in group intent, there's power in group support, and you also get to choose who your group is. And I think as we evolve as humans, especially those who are doing the work to the degree that we're doing, circles change, energy shifts, and it's okay. That's the piece, is remembering that it's okay, because people do unconsciously get stuck in ruts. And so when there is movement, whether it's yourself or somebody else, that respect for movement, like that's flow, that's water. So I think coming back into the root of why we started doing this together.
Yeah. So maybe that's one of the things that we should be like, hey, how often should we be checking in? Like, had we
Yeah.
checked in, would we have changed sooner? Would Anne Marie still be here? We're not going to be able to answer that question. We can only do something maybe different going forward. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. And I think it calls us, each one of us as well, to check in with ourselves, not just as a group,
Yeah,
but just as she did, right? She checked in with herself. And obviously, the intent or something about this wasn't in alignment for her anymore. And I think that it's a good idea for each of us to also look and make sure that this is still in alignment for us. And are we getting what we need out of it? Do we feel that we are able to express what we need to in it? Is it working for us individually before we can decide, is this actually working as a collective?
yeah,
Yeah,
So she was a bit ahead of the game there.
and we chose to debrief live because this is life. This is how healthy communication works, where everybody gets a space to share how they feel and everybody gets a vote as to how we move forward. You can only work with the communication that has been presented. So, to have that full, authentic, healthy space to communicate is what brings safety into relationship. And everybody gets to say their piece. So I know for me, this has been so incredibly important to me. And I'm very grateful that we've done this. I will probably continue to do it in some format with whoever wants to join me in that. I don't see myself stopping, and that's where I'm at because this keeps me on track. This is what we did with the kids in the gym. So for me, this is my normal. And for me, it feels healthy, especially when I don't have a partner and the dogs help me stay grounded. But showing up once a week is part of my grounding. So I find it very healthy for myself, even though it does take extra time and energy for to do the videos and the shorts and all of that. But it's my pleasure. I enjoy doing that. It's part of my art. It's like arts and craft, digital arts and crafts for me, right? And so I don't mind doing it and providing that for us. Yeah, that's where I'm sitting.
yeah. I had originally been on a okay in a year, when you get to a year, check in with yourself. Like, I'm gonna run the experiment for a year and see what I like coming here and having our communication. There are times when I've thought, oh, maybe if we had some more centered topics or something
Exactly.
that might add value. But again, that's the growth thing. And I haven't said anything because if I'm gonna say that to you, I'm gonna be like, here's my list of topics to offer, which I don't have for you yet. So
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm definitely all for continuing and discussing if we want to put any other boundaries, guardrails, topic stuff. Do we want to bring in a fourth person, or do we want to have that chair be for guest stuff? I'm open to all of the things, and I'm also even open to, hey, one week we have a guest, one week we just have a fourth. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we can experiment a little. I think that there's nothing wrong with that, right? And we teach about experimentation a lot with Toltec philosophy, and this is another method of that. And we're processing and debriefing this online. When if anyone out there thinks that obviously we grow, our comfort zone with all of this has grown, and it was not that we all felt super comfortable sharing. And I know there are pieces of ourselves that we're not gonna put here in on the podcast that we'll talk about after we hit stop on the record button. And that's gonna continue. And I don't want us to be in a scripted like situation personally. That I
Yeah.
don't think I want that. But yeah, my 2 cents.
Yeah. No, I love that. What do you think, Christina?
I think that this community has been really important for me as well. I know that there are days where it is hard to show up. It's been a long day sometimes, and sometimes I get home from work and I'm like sliding into my computer seat, but I never regret showing up. So obviously, I'm getting something out of it. It does feel like a safe space. It's it's our community. It's our family that we're building. And it's a reset button every week. I know it's on a Wednesday, but it really does feel like a bit of a reset. And I feel like you said, Angel, where it helps ground you and gets me through the rest of the week. Life isn't always easy, and we've all experienced challenges, and I've had a lot of challenges this year. So just
Yeah.
having this safe place to land once a week with people who listen and don't judge has been so incredibly important for me. And who's to say in the future if that might change? But again, we have to be constantly checking in and, hey, is this working? Right now, it's still working for me. Today, I say we keep going. And I know that originally the idea had also come up of having maybe some topics or that kind of thing. And I think that's really cool sometimes. But I also think that just the organic led conversations are important too. Again, like you said, Michonne, not scripting, but maybe having
A
maybe
theme.
sometimes, yeah, sometimes having a topic where, oh, we're going to talk about this tonight, and let me think about that. And being able
Yeah.
to offer some really well thought out views or points or whatever. You know what I mean? Where you have a chance to think a little bit before coming on. Maybe we don't do that all the time. Maybe we have once a month where we don't do that at all and we just come on and chat about life. And I like the idea of a guest speaker, particularly when there's a topic to talk about, because then you can choose your guest speakers accordingly and say, hey, you'd be a really great, we want to talk about this. And I know that you're really into that, or you've really studied that, or you work with that. We'd love to have a chat with you about that and get your perspective. I think those would be really great opportunities where we would have that guest speaker, whereas maybe those unscripted, as we've always been doing, might just be the three of us.
Mhm.
I was thinking
Well,
about
and
that earlier too. I'm like, who would I want on the show?
it opens our world. 'Cause in the beginning, even calling it the inner den, it's like our sanctuary. It's our safe space.
Yeah.
And we've been curating that and the guardians of that space. And so it was never even in our awareness to bring on a guest. And now it's, oh, we could do that if we wanted. And In the beginning, we were using the chakras as a weekly thing to evolve through. As you were talking, Michonne, I thought maybe even like dreaming with the tarot cards. That there's a whole bunch of cards.
So you can just, even just for the zodiac, there's a tarot card for each zodiac sign. You could totally work with it and that nature too.
Yeah, there's so many ideas. So I
We could
am
do
completely open to themes. I'm completely open to guests. I really love the anchor and the roots that the three of us have curated into this space. So I like the idea of more of a guest coming. It leaves room for flow when we want to flow.
Yeah.
So some things to dream into for sure.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a really dreamy 2 weeks for me for sure. I started my my drive today, and I'm covering 3 provinces in 24 hours. I just left BC. Now I'm in Alberta, and next tomorrow I'll be in Saskatchewan, going to my dad's house. And then next weekend our camp starts. So I'm on the road for a bit, and literally just being able to practice flow.
Well,
And how
that's
gracefully can I pivot during these times that we're in right now?
yeah. And ironically, I have the dreaming ceremony coming up this weekend, and we had
Right.
the dreaming discussion like last night, and the concept that I brought in is this of you being the spider at the center of the web, right? All of the paths out from the center are basically your infinite possibilities, where most of us only see one or two of those threads, and really realizing we have so many other perceptions and things that we could take, like you said, dreaming into this space. And the other thing that I added, and like we're pulling in as part of the dreaming ceremony, that we're those that are called to are moving into this weekend. If you're listening to this, you'll probably be getting some mitote effects, whether you asked for them or not, because it just happens that way. But really, the concept with Neptune going into retrograde, of the fog lifting and really refining what dreams are ours and what dreams maybe aren't ours, and that we maybe need to let go. And once we do that, we can take some more grounded action towards our dream that we're trying to pull into this reality.
Exactly. And I truly believe that's what's happening, and the astrology is supporting it. If you want the quantum leap, it's here. Can you leap? Can you jump?
Yeah.
And so it's fascinating that my travels start today, right as the energy kind of supports that space. The spider's on the move, right?
Yeah.
And I'm going to be experimenting down some different threads and see which one has some jingles on it and which one doesn't.
Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah. And that's Saturday night, your Matote ceremony?
Yep. Yes.
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah. So that will be interesting. So I find when I get in this space and start really tapping into the water element and activating that flow,
Oh,
the discernment comes in with, like you said, which storyline is going to serve me and which storyline is complete. Because I also had a very wonderful conversation with a human a couple of days ago around some people come into your life for a short time, have significant impact, and then move on. Not, and that's okay. So, as we all navigate work relationships, personal relationships, romantic relationships, professional relationships in general, Where can you bring more grace, ease, and flow? Where can you do that? Because there is so many things that are gonna be changing over the next couple of months, and can you just be okay with that?
You had sent us something in the group and it was in regards to like surrendering, and you sent it so perfectly timed. And I had something queued up to send, and I was like you said that, and you was like, surrender this month, don't take any aggressive warrior action, was basically the message. And I was about to take some aggressive warrior action, and I was like, okay, that was your sign to not take that action. And like surrender. And like you're saying, that water is that surrender to the flow, right? And instead of trying to force it into a container. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was very
Yeah, it
grateful that you had gotten that for me. But every time the instinct has come in right now to take aggressive warrior action, I've been like, nope, we're not going to do that right now. And it's been very difficult, especially when you're in, obviously when you're talking about taking aggressive action, it's not typically in your own personal growth. You're probably dealing with a secondary person. And so it's the relationship piece of it that you're talking about coming in. And I do agree with you. Yes, there are these people that come in, make huge impacts, and then leave. But I also think that there's too much of a throwaway. There's an encouragement to cut and run every time someone does something you don't like. And it's been reinforced to me repeatedly lately. Like, you can do all the healing you want alone, and you can say that you're perfectly healed. And then as soon as you get into relationship, you will find that you're on your upward spiral, of course, and that's great. But you are going to be challenged and you are going to be pushed to grow. And that mirrors are going to come in, they are going to trigger you. You are going to have an opportunity to be different in relationship. And we're always at choice whether we want to do that. And when we're stressed out, we're probably going to fall back into old relationship patterns. And having that awareness is going to help you recover from the old relationship pattern that much faster. I don't know where that's going, but yeah, this is.
I think also that it experience your old relationship patterns, and we've been experimenting for almost a decade now of having to show up differently in relationship. And so when somebody does come at you and hurt you, for me, instead of that exact reaction, what you were saying, I'm able now to take a step back and go, okay, I don't have to mirror and reflect back how they hurt me. I can just go, okay, that's where you're at.
Yeah, yeah,
It's also about discernment. And as we get better at these things and get better at discernment, it's understanding when it is appropriate to take that warrior stance and when to give grace. Being able to navigate that is a challenge sometimes. And I feel like the more we explore it and the more that we're able to have a safe place where we can talk about these things, we can refine that discernment and make better choices. I know
yeah,
for me that's something that I've struggled with at times and still do.
yeah, yeah. And I really do feel like the joy, the fun, the happiness, contentment is on the other side of some of these difficult conversations. You're not going to get there with certain people if you're not willing to have the difficult conversation. And so pushing it under a rug or emotionally retracting your energy, it doesn't allow each other to grow. Whether it's in this relationship or the next one that you're in, if the conversation isn't had, that doesn't mean you're going to keep going down the path together.
Yeah, and communication matters when there is significant things that need to be talked about, especially if a group is involved, for instance. Yeah, there's great communication and there's not so great communication. And when the communication's not great, what I've learned this year, as soon as there's confusion, that's when I step back. If I'm confused with no clarity and no wanting to talk, that's what I just got out of. I've spent the last 2 years healing from emotional manipulation. And so if I don't feel clear in my relationships, then they just get moved farther out of the circle because I need clarity for my own emotional safety.
In this particular
I'm
instance, you're talking about you're asking questions and not getting a response, and so then we start to pull back. Yeah. Okay.
if there's lack of clarity and ghosting, I just walk.
I feel like that's a great example, though, of when communication levels don't match.
Right.
There's some misalignment just with where people are at.
Yeah.
And I think every situation is going to be a little bit different in how it's appropriate to, or how it's necessary to navigate. But I do see that as that is a challenge. And I think that's kind of what we're seeing right now, too.
And I think some people process through communication. Some people need to process independently before they can communicate about it. And so when you're talking about communication styles, that doesn't necessarily mean they have two different communication styles, but you do need that ability to allow the space.
I think that's fair. But I think the problem arises where that second stage never manifests.
Yes,
You can sit in that and process forever and ever and hide. But at some point, you need to come out of it and address what's going on.
correct. Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that humans get to learn on Earth is communication, that, like, everybody that's a everybody thing,
Oh, and BTW, it's retrograde. Mercury retrograde.
right?
If you're having some
Mhm.
additional or more miscommunications this month, that may be attributing it to it. So asking or slowing down and asking more questions for clarity, highly encouraged.
And I can't remember where Jupiter was, but now it's expanding. For in my chart anyways, Jupiter is expanding everything, whether it's good or bad, it's getting expanded.
Correct. Oh yeah, that's the
So
danger about Jupiter. It expands all things.
all things, all things, and expansion is a great word, but blow up is also expansion, right? So
Yeah.
it's it goes on both sides. So if you're expanding to the point of blowout and your energy comes out sideways, the communication's not going to be that great.
Right.
So being extra aware of that, of that. What are you doing? I got a friend. I got a friend.
He
Are we
just wants to
communicating
communicate
well?
too.
I know. Yeah, and I'm heading to my dad's. I haven't seen him in a year. It'll be very interesting to see how that goes. I'm excited. He's moved, so it's a new house, new town. I've never been to Swift Current. So this is a real adventure that I start tomorrow in a new space, new house, unpack the parents, that kind of thing. And so it'll be a very grounding exercise for me just to help somebody else. We know it's easier to go organize somebody else's shit, right? Than to organize your own. And sometimes there's inspiration in that. So I'm really looking forward to going and spending some time there.
I think it's going to be really good for you.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what my week looks like. And then of course dreaming into what we're talking about now. How can we show up in a healthier communicative way? Where else can we allow flow this week as Jupiter expands everything? Are we going to allow it to expand ourselves? Can we expand our heart? Can we expand our grace?
Can we expand our communication skills?
Yes. Excellent.
Yeah. So, do we want to dream into it for a couple of days before we make any decisions? Or do we have an idea of how we want to move forward for next week? Or do you need more time?
I don't know. I'm gonna guess that it means more time. Christina, what is your
I kind of feel like even if it's a guest speaker, maybe we should bring someone else in next week, experiment with that. This is the perfect time for a pivot. And I feel like if we don't do that and we just keep going the way we've been going, then that's what we're going to keep doing.
yeah?
Well,
So
I just had an idea.
yeah.
I just had an idea. We could,
Have your whole group
huh?
have your whole group on next week from your retreat?
Oh,
That'll be the week after.
that'll be
Okay.
the week after. We could absolutely do that. That would be
I would like
amazing.
a retreat check-in.
Yes, yes, let's
Yeah.
absolutely
And
do
that'll
that.
be the end of our retreat. That will be like the last day.
Okay, good. Then you'll
Or
be
well,
all
we could do it Tuesday night instead while we're still in radium. We can talk about that later, but
okay.
yes, we will do a retreat. We will do a retreat edition. I think that's a great idea. But maybe for next week, we bring April in and do a Jaguar talk, do a Jaguar theme.
Okay.
I'm open to
And
that.
You're open to that?
I'm open. Yeah.
Yeah, because if we do first attention and then we'll do our summer camp edition, and then maybe the two after that, we could do first attention with April and then do second attention with somebody after the camp and then do a third attention. And that kind of gives us a tiny bit of a roadmap for a month and then we can
Yeah.
reassess.
I think it's worth a try.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Absolutely.
I think that's great. And that is April's specialty. That's her medicine too. So that would be a perfect topic to bring her in on. So yeah, we'll do that. We'll do a Through the Eyes of Jaguar second edition in the inner den.
We have a
That'll be
plan.
good. And then the week after will be summer camp edition. That sounds so fun. That lights me up. I think that would be great. So we will dream in to Michonne's dreaming ceremony this weekend. Do you want to give a quick what the details are again?
Yep, it's overnight ceremony Saturday night. We get together at 8:15 to 8:40 to have a little candle lighting and kickoff. We send you out to go watch a movie, and then we reconvene at 11:30 Central Time. And there's rounds that we do around the candle. Those will all be assigned later. Don't get yourself all worried about that. You are not required to have dream recall abilities, lucid dreaming capacity, any other stories that you've told yourself about what dreaming skills that you would might need to participate in this. I guess you don't need any of those. Just need an open heart, a willingness to experiment and grow. So come check it out at embersandshards.com. We'd love to have you join us. The theme is Cancer, and I actually drew a card last night during the dreaming ceremony to set the tone for the ceremony, and it was the Hierophant reversed.
Ooh. Okay.
I have a question. I hope it's not a dumb question.
No.
Because it's an overnight dreaming, are participants expected to stay up overnight?
No, what happens is we do rounds, and you'll typically be up for a half an hour, sleep for an hour and a half, up for a half an hour, sleep for an hour and a half. That's the intent. Sometimes you might only get an hour of sleep because of the way the rounds get set up and the timing gets staggered. And you are responsible for waking yourself up. Whereas if I were doing this as in a live setting where everybody is in the same location, I would wake up the next person personally, maybe. there it can there's no one way that they'll
Okay.
happen. Yeah, yeah. They all are a little bit different. And the intent is really to break up your energy, let you start to gain some observation and awareness of the box that you are trapped in by your domestication, by just your daily routines that you upkeep every day, just areas in your life where you might have stagnation that you might want to create something different in, and how we can start to use the dream world to change our waking life. That's the intent. And it doesn't happen in one
Thank
session,
you.
but it can happen in one session too. So,
Thank you, Michonne.
yes. Over
Yeah.
Zoom. So, in your
Yeah.
own space. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. So we're going to work on some flow this week and see where we can bring some more ease and grace into our world, into our heart. And we will check in and see you all next week.
Bye.
Bye.